Hey everybody, and welcome to another RCT2 review. We're continuing our head-to-head 10 contest review series as we're into the third place match. Last time out we looked at Sonatal, and this time we look at the opposing park for it. This is the Land Before Time. So this was actually built by the entire team of the Lonely Hearts Club. So JK did 30%, mamarillas did 26%, Jens J did 15%, RobDedede did 10%, as well as Hex. Sammy, deanosrs, and AmusementParker did 2% each, and FK+Coastermind, Camcorder22, and Che did 1% each. So pretty cool to have the entire team jump on to do kind of one big thing. First of all, the map shape. Love the giant footprint here. And when we get into it, this is actually a really fun map. This ended up being, I think, kind of underrated now, having the contest being over. There's a lot of really cool stuff in this map, including, not least, the coaster layouts, which are a couple of the best layouts in the contest, I would say. So first of all, let's kind of jump in and look at all of this. So we've got this kind of big body of water in the middle with these big dinosaurs and everything, and a lot of this sort of browns and natural colors architecture and everything. We get a lot of like Southwest kind of Adobe looking type architecture and some really cool stuff in general. But let's take a look at the rides. Let's pick up this coaster here. This is Switchosaurus, which I love. First of all, the cars facing back to back, which is pretty cool. And two different colors per each one of the trains, and each one of the cars in there different color as well, which I do kind of love. Great switchback layout. This was based off of the one at ZDT's in Texas, and I definitely love it. It's pretty darn cool. Also, props to them for doing block section mode and still having the back and forth section there. So pretty cool, and really like the look of this, especially the first bit here without the wooden supports on it, and custom supports for the rest of it, by the way, so A+ on that. But this is a pretty cool tower here, and I do love this kind of vertical twist tower there right by the lift hill. Kind of neat how to see that. I love all these little like raised walkways that go in between the different stuff, kind of over these tar pits, I guess, as you come through this area. It's kind of a neat little dichotomy between the nice blue water here and these bubbling pits here. We've got the rapids here, the Cretaceous Cascade going through this area. You can see the little spinning barrels that guide the boat along the way. So kind of neat to see that coming along. We got our little wave swinger right here, and if you spin around, I love these dinosaurs with the little vehicles on the back of it, the rafts here. This guy pulling this like roller. Oh, here we got a water spout coming up. That's pretty darn cool. The geyser. This is a neat falls here as well, and the dinosaur bones that are sticking out of the water as well. This is kind of neat coming into this like sort of spooky looking cave here. Lots of different caves throughout, and actually on the side of the map there's a couple of these pretty neat ones as well on the side that just look sort of ominous and foreboding. Also love this waterfall coming off using the curve pieces on the top, and then some of those newer, I guess they're not really new anymore, but the waterfall pieces coming down, which just look really nice in general. I love this whole sort of Flintstones thing we got going on, using the dinosaurs as workers here with this agricultural thing here, tilling the ground, cutting down these different trees, and I love the drag marks here to pull these to the log pile. Here we've got our fairly gruesome little coliseum going on here. That's I guess kind of sort of ripping apart some people here, so maybe they don't want to be part of that. Over here we've got a little spinning ride called the Discovery of Fire, which is cool. I love the stuff on the ground here, just marking all this out, and I don't know, it just looks really neat. The ground textures are something pretty interesting, I think. Up here we've got the Brontosaurus bumpers. Gotta love some alliteration there, so that's kind of a neat look. You can get a glimpse here, you can't necessarily see a lot of it, of the station here for the rapids. I love this little bridge that the thing sits on here and goes around. And let's talk about this diagonal lift for a second, which is made out of the Zero car on the Corkscrew coaster, I think. And actually looks really legit. Like, it looks really nice for a for a lift, and if you look at it this way, it even looks just fine too. A little bit glitchy, but honestly, it's a pretty cool idea there. I'm guessing it's been done before, but I think this is one of the better uses that I've seen of that technique. So if we continue up our hillside here, we get to this guy. Gotta love a husk condor. If you want to learn how to do this, I do have a hacking tutorial on my tutorials page, but this is herbivore hollow, so again with alliteration. Big fan of that. Also these ground markings. Love that. Also the kind of wall paintings and carvings and stuff. Here's some little drummer guys going on here on the bones. As we go further up, we have this sort of I don't know, tribal dancing kind of stuff going on up here. More like runes and stuff on the walls, handprints and all that. Love this big super loop here called the wheel. The structure is pretty neat. I love the ropes wrapping the actual supports on the whole thing, so that's kind of neat. And cool little shoestring design there too, so very nice to see that. Now let's jump down to the big coasters, because there's two big coasters. The first one here is Apex, and first of all, it's got this kind of funky little lift system with this like cable wire that I guess somehow pulls it from the top. Not entirely sure how it's intended to work, but it's actually really darn cool with the spinning wheel or the rotating wheels here, and it's just this cable in general coming down and returning. Just the whole thing is kind of fun little mechanical bits and pieces coming on there. Got ourselves a little hold drop on the drop here, and we're going to dive down into our big tunnel. Up into this nice dive loop there, really framing this waterfall super nice, and this giant tower of rock and different stuff here in the middle with this helix. Come around and then into the brakes, and if we spin around, we can actually see, here we go. See the brakes here. I love these little bones and everything on the side there. Also this carvings and paintings on the walls and everything. Really great layout. Honestly, one of the nicer dive coaster layouts, and this is how a dive coaster should be. Not particularly long, but it has all the trademarks that you usually see, like a dive loop or a nibbleman, a big vertical drop, helix, and it's not too long in the tooth, and it actually has a nice, nice clean layout to it. Great supports. Again, this tower is super cool with these rope wrapped, like, I guess tree logs or whatever they're meant to be, and just some fun little supporting elements throughout this whole thing. Of course, the big coaster here that looks across the entire map, this is, what do we call this one? Expedition Extinction, and this is a lovely layout, absolutely lovely layout. So we got this sort of double out and back thing going with this big water splash here. Nice big turnaround on this side. We're using the mine train supports here, which I actually think look pretty good because it's going to make it look a little less bulky, and I think you need that for a ride that's as gigantic as this one is. What's nice about this is that they set it up in a kind of this valley almost, with these kind of big structures growing up around it. So the ride, which if you set this thing on flat ground would just absolutely dominate everything, actually sits fairly low into the stuff around it, and just looks great. Looks really, really nice. This water splash is sort of interesting. I think that's kind of a fun little addition there, and I just love the stacked nature of it. It's a very kind of CCI-esque type, fairly realistic layout in a fairly fantastical setting, so big fan of it. Love just the gigantic scale, because we really haven't seen some of these just like absolutely dominating size coasters in the contest, and this one checks that box, and I think did a really nice job doing it. Look at these great walkways over top of coaster here. Love these grasses and vines and stuff hanging down from the stuff. I got these cool towers of rock and I guess some man-made things here and there. Little evidence of these little structures from I guess the humans. And great rock work just all the way down the whole thing. So pretty darn cool to see that. And then this just grand waterfalls on the sides. You see this gigantic one here on the back side of it. Here's a fun little detail that I don't think is synced up in this save, but is pretty darn cool. So the Rapids boat comes along here and is going to shoot up to this upper level, and brought up there. It's meant to be brought up there by the geyser blast coming up, which is a pretty darn cool thing. Shame it isn't synchronized here, but it's a pretty cool idea. Again, love these little carvings here with the woolly mammoth, and you know, this guy looks like he's here in this buffalo or whatever. Little kind of rubble branches and logs and things like that kind of guiding this rapid boat through to the other side. And then this structure just around the top here is really cool. So we got this, you know, it feels fairly Southwest inspired Adobe type stuff, but then we also have this that kind of reminds me of like a Petra in Jordan, and it's got some pretty cool architecture on the whole thing. It looks like some kind of big giant bird's egg perhaps up here. So really neat architecture integrated into the rockwork. I kind of like that it's almost tough to figure out where the rockwork ends and where the buildings start. It's just very naturally integrated. This is a pretty cool view on this side. To look at the lift hill there, kind of hidden by this nice little archway building up to the whole thing. I think this wooden coaster probably ends up being my favorite wooden coaster of the contest. There's and this dive coaster. I guess I can't remember how many dive coasters there were in the contest, if there were too many or not, but it's, you know, definitely one of my favorite steel coaster layouts too. I think it's done very cleanly and just looks really good. There's just a lot of neat stuff to look at on this one, and I love a good natural map that has cool water features and just gigantic terrain elevation changes and things like that. So cool move for this one, because usually it feels like we see one kind of prehistoric type park every season, and we hadn't really seen too much like that, and this one just kind of nails the theme and just does a very nice job with this sort of overgrown foliage and nice landscaping, and a really good ride integrated into the whole thing. So this one was the winner. It won pretty handily over Sonatal, but two great parks for sure. But that means the Lonely Hearts Club take third place, get their bronze medal for this, so congratulations to their team. If you would like to take a look at this park in the game, then you should definitely download it. I'll provide a link in the description below, so you can check that one out if you would like to. You will also need Open RCT2 to view this thing, so make sure you download that as well if you don't have it already. Link is down in the description also. So next up is the final two. We will enter the final match here of Head-to-Head 10 and wrap up the contest here with the next two videos. Hope you've enjoyed everything so far, and we will see you in the next one. Until next time, thanks very much for watching. Bye now.